What's up? My name's Mike. Doing something a little bit different today. Just trying to get outside more while the weather's decent. But today I wanted to talk about something that I've come to realize lately about myself. And it's that it can be really difficult to just live in the present moment and to really appreciate and be present in the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that I've been doing and some of the techniques that have worked for me as far as bringing myself back into the moment and identifying when I'm not currently there. So I think the first thing you do if you find yourself like constantly thinking about the future instead of just being where you're at is to identify why that is. And it sounds obvious. If you knew why you were having these issues, then obviously it would be easy to fix them. And that's kind of the way that we think, but it's not quite so obvious and it's not quite so easy. If you're grieving or if you're mourning or if you're just going through a lot, sometimes you know exactly why you're going through what you're going through. And sometimes you just need to sit there, grin and bear it, and just go through it. You know, that's a natural process. You need to feel what you're feeling. But if you're just like constantly kind of down, or if you're constantly finding yourself daydreaming, or if you're constantly just thinking about a future that maybe hasn't come to pass yet, then it can be really difficult to reel yourself back in. So to get to the point a little bit, identify why it is you feel the way that you do. For me personally, I lately have kind of been obsessed with like money and financial freedom. And a lot of the time, when I'm doing things that should be relaxing, when I'm just hanging out with people, or when I'm just, living my best life, sometimes when I'm left alone for too long, I'll start to go back into my same train of thought of, I should be working on this, or I should be working on that, or I haven't accomplished this yet, and I should be working on this, right? So I know where those thoughts are coming from. It's coming from my desire for financial freedom. It's coming from my desire to want to be successful. It's coming from my desire to just want more in life. So now that I've kind of identified where that comes from, you have to figure out what questions you need to start asking yourself. And this is going to vary from person to person because everyone's different. Everyone has different motivations and everyone communicates in different ways. So this is where knowing yourself well and being emotionally intelligent is really, really important, because the questions that I ask myself may not mean anything to you. For example, if I find myself constantly questioning, why haven't I accomplished this, or why haven't I accomplished that, or I should be working on this or working on that, the first thing I ask myself is, if I had everything in life that I always wanted, if I were rich beyond belief, if I was making more money than I knew what to do with, what would I be doing in this moment right now? And I ask myself that, and I just think, and I take the time, maybe just a minute or so, and I play through my head, if I had nothing to worry about in the world, if I had everything that I wanted in life, how would I be interacting in this very moment? And I think about what would be different, and I think about how my interactions and my relationships would be playing out right now. And I decide, okay, let me just act like I'm already there. Let me just pretend like I've already accomplished it. Let me just pretend like everything that I want in life is mine right here, right now. Usually, that's all it takes for me to bring myself back into the present moment. Because once you admit to yourself that your actions, once you've achieved your goals, will be different than your actions right now, then you can figure out what actions you should be taking right now and just align yourself with that. So another thing I like to ask myself, and this is especially when things are difficult, or maybe I get some hard news, or maybe I'm just going through a rough patch. Instead of asking myself, if I had everything right now, how would I react to this? I'll ask myself, would the person who I need to be, or the person that I want to be to achieve what I want in life, worry about this thing? Or how would the future version of myself, the version who's already accomplished this, how would they react to this situation? And if future me would let this be water under the bridge, if future me wouldn't give this the time of day, if future me needs to call somebody out, then that's my cue to take action, right? So instead of thinking about how do I feel right now, I realign myself and I say, how do I need to be? How do I need to react? What kind of person do I need to be? How do I need to carry myself? What values do I need to have in order to achieve the things in life that I want? And if I notice that my actions aren't aligning with the goals that I have in life, then that's a very clear sign that something needs to change. And that's a very clear sign and a very clear directive of how I need to realign myself. So those are two things that I do quite often to ground myself when I'm going through rough patches or when I'm going through moments that are like, oh snap, like this is not where I want to be, or I'm not where I'm at, or I'm not where I want to be right now, or when I'm in a situation where maybe I'm not feeling so hot, right? So just ask yourself those questions. Number one would be, if I had everything in life that I wanted, how would I react in this very moment right now? And then number two would be, what would my future self, my successful self, my, got life all worked out already, what would that version of myself do in this situation? And it really works. I'm telling you, it really works. There have been so many times where I'm tense, or I'm on edge, or I'm supposed to be relaxing because I just need to relax and I'm terrible at it. And simply asking yourself, what would my future self do in this situation? Or if I had everything I wanted, how would I be living in this very moment right now? Being able to identify the situation that you're in, being able to peel back the layers as to why you feel that way, and then being able to realign yourself and telling yourself that, like, hey, you know what? It's okay for me to just enjoy this right now. It's okay for me to take this leaf, look at it, and appreciate all the different ridges and crinkles that it has on it. It's okay for me to take my phone and just like scroll on social media just for a little bit, because if I don't do that, then I won't have balance in my life. And if I don't have balance in my life, it's going to be a lot more difficult for me to function as a human being, And if you're a non-functioning human being, then how are you going to work on the things that you want to do? So, some might look at this and say, okay, your thought process, it's a little bit toxic, because at the end of the day, I'm still drawing it back to like me making progress. It's still me being productive. It's still me achieving goals instead of me just learning to relax. But honestly, that's just the way that I feel my mind works. And I'm happiest. I'm at my happiest when I am working on something. I'm at my happiest when I am achieving, and when I am working towards something, and when I have that feeling of like purpose in life. I honestly just don't think that I could retire, because I can't sit still longer than 5-10 seconds anyway. So like, what's retirement gonna look like for me? Anyway, I hope this has been somewhat helpful. Just a few tips, a few things that have worked for me as far as understanding myself better, and then also just bringing myself back to the present moment when things maybe aren't going my way. With all that being said, it's a beautiful day out. So I hope you could take advantage, wherever you're at. I hope you could take advantage and just live your life. That's what it's all about. Just live your life. But that's all I really got for you today. I appreciate the time you took, and until next time.